What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another F1 24 My Team Career Mode episode. Today, the United States Grand Prix. It's COTA. We've already been racing in North America this season back in Miami, but now we're back at the Circuit of the Americas. Starting off with qualifying as always. Looking a little bit cloudy here as we have a little bit of a moment leaving the final corners to start our first qualifying lap. We're going to run down the pit straight and up the hill into turn 1, braking just before the sort of safety car 2 line, which is a little bit confusing. A little bit of wheel spin on exit before we wind through sort of S section of sector 1 here. Really got to throw the car and hope it sticks. Shift down a gear, which I didn't do this time, but going to shift down 2, sort of finish off the end of sector 1. Try and mount the curbs here as best as you can. Get lucky there on track limits before you unwind the steering and head down the hill towards the first DRS detection point on the lap. But going a little bit deep, get a little bit of dust all up on my tyres. But it's looking okay so far. We've got some good pace around here, it seems. We do have a pretty fresh engine in the back of our car for this weekend. We have the most powerful engine in the whole field, actually, even compared to Mercedes, Red Bull, and everyone else. It's a little bit unsteady through this sort of tight section, and a little bit deep again into that sort of double left-hander. And now for the double right, or the very long right. It's not even a double, it's just a really long corner. Kind of keeps going and going before you shift down 2 gears, chuck it in to the penultimate corner, spot your braking point just around. There's a little bit of tarmac that is a bit darker than the rest. That is sort of my braking point there. We actually hit the fastest lap in Q1 through nice and easily to Q2, where you can hit subscribe and stay up to date with all the videos. But starting the lap in Q2, this is our second run. Our first run, as you can see, not up to pace at all. We just had lockups, a bit like that, to be honest. Obviously that was unused our previous lap. Now we're on fresh, soft compound tyres. Again, there's almost threatening rain, but not really raining at all anytime soon around this wonderful circuit. A little bit of a second bite at the cherry on that corner entry before. You can see we're not even gaining any time on these newer soft compound tyres compared to our previous lap. We do get a nice turn in here. Again, trying not to go deep. We managed to kind of keep it off from going off the circuit. Managed to keep it on the circuit, in fact. And picked up a little bit of time through the corner, but then lost it on exit, unfortunately. We're trying to save a little bit of battery for the later part of sector 3 here. Now we're going to tip it in nicely. A little bit of a lockup on the left front again. It's not looking too good at all. We do have a tenth or so in hand. 2 tenths. Nope, we lost a bit of time there again. We just can't seem to put this lap together at all. Again, a little bit deep, similar to Q1. But that didn't do us too badly there at all. A tenth and a half down on our time as we're going through this long right-hander with the battery on as well, just to try and get some time back. Really throw it in this time to the penultimate corner. We pick up a tenth and a half as we now enter the last corner. Open up the steering and we open up the DRS and across the line.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. And Fernando Alonso completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, Norris, Perez, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Tsunoda, Brown, Albon, Ocon, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Théo Pourchaire, Joe, Sargent, and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Indeed. Let's see who can prevail on this fine Sunday afternoon. And I think it's kind of saying medium hard. I don't think the softs are really going to make that much of an impact in this race. Obviously, they can do it some tracks, but I think that tyre degradation is quite high around here. We're thinking medium hard, although I'm thinking hard medium. Potentially just stay out there, goal hang for a safety car, and potentially overcut some of the drivers that we're amongst with our Q2 exit. P12, not bad on the road, not good either. But here we are on the grid. We've got Gasly and Tsunoda ahead of us. All the lights are on. Now they're out as we go racing here in COTA. At a pretty good launch for us. In the second phase, though, we do lose out a little bit. There's a Haas of Kevin Magnussen looking to the inside, but we're going to cut that off and just sneak up the inside of Lance Stroll here. Hopefully get him on the exit as the McLarens and Perez are 3 wide there. Perez is very out of shape. I'm going to slide down the inside there into this S section, try and hold it side by side and squeeze him out. And we do so, just keeping our nose in there. And we're actually in P8 right now. And that went from a bad second phase into a fantastic first sector for us, because we're too busy looking behind us to know where we're going to go there. And hopefully, with a bit of the Constantina effect, we're going to climb back onto the rear end of Norris. And yeah, everyone around us is on the medium compound tyres as Norris is harvesting the battery while we're deploying it. We're going to send it down the inside, try and keep both of us on the circuit. Wink, wink, nod, nudge, nudge, whatever that is. Well, try and keep it clean, although it's safe to say I will be absolutely throwing it down the inside on a few of these heavy braking zones around this circuit. Now we're just going to try and deploy as much of the battery as we can just to try and stay in touching distance of the DRS of those ahead of us and see where we can end up in this race. Kind of didn't take the best line through that penultimate corner of the lap, and now you can see how close we are to Oscar Piastri. I'm hoping as well that the tyre degradation is going to be quite high and these hards are going to come into play pretty early on in this stint, just so that we can try and make up some places that we couldn't get in qualifying. Piastri's going defensive. We're going to send it around the outside this time. Try and give him plenty of room on the inside. A little bit of a lock-up for us. Under traction, we've still got our nose in there. Can we just gently persuade Piastri that it's our place and not his? And he seems to have kind of confirmed that message for us, that he's going to just give us the place, which is very nice of him there. And now we're on the back of Lewis Hamilton, who's actually a little bit out of range, and we've only got 5% battery, which is not ideal in this race. Do we get it there though? Just before the pit straight, we didn't in the end, and we've still got Piastri and Norris hunting us down with the help of their DRS. But again, we've got the strongest engine in the field. I'm not too worried as long as we have some battery to play with. There's a little bit of a wheel spin moment on exit of zone 1, but I'm pretty confident with a bit of battery we can hold off almost anybody when they've got the DRS, you know, unless they are really close. So now we're going to look around the outside of Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. We do have to cut the corner a little bit there just to avoid a crash, essentially, and thankfully Hamilton did back out of it just in time for us. We're going to look around the outside of Alonso. Now we're on lap 7, and you can really tell that the tyre difference is kind of in our favour massively, just because we're on the hards and they're on the mediums. And now Leclerc's looking to have a go back at Alonso. We're going to go around the outside of 1, maybe 2. Alonso does stay ahead, but Leclerc is just trying to hold it around the outside. Now he goes, but just not enough racing room for him to stay within contention of this P4 we're in now, which again, unbelievable first stint for us on the hards. We're absolutely destroying them. We are not preserving these at all. No threat of rain either, so we're not even thinking about the long game of potentially just doing a one stop to wets or something like that. All about pure pace right now for the first stint, just to try and get up into a better position for us. And now we're chasing down Alonso. Hamilton potentially outside of the DRS, Hamilton's obviously gotten past Leclerc. We're going to go down the inside of Fernando. A little bit of a lock-up for us. We do leave a bit of space on exit, but he backs out and lets us crack on with our race. Now I think Pit stops are going to be around lap 10, lap 11 maybe. I'm not sure about those around us. We were looking, I think, at the end of lap 11 to box for some fresh mediums, but now we're definitely not going to get the DRS on our rival George Russell just ahead of us here, who's hanging on to the coattails of Max Verstappen ahead. Almost a little bit of a spin under brakes, actually. We've been running some setups from VSE. If you know, you know. And skipping ahead to lap 11, as predicted, Russell and the rest are boxing for hards. And they're not going to come out too far behind us. Obviously, it's going to be about a pit stop distance anyway, but their undercut is going to be more powerful than what I can do in one lap, even on, you know, not even fresh hard, but pretty fresh, especially compared to their mediums. But now you can see Verstappen about 17 seconds, 16 seconds behind us now. So we're definitely going to come out behind those guys. I'm not too worried about that at all. We're going to have fresh mediums and hopefully some good pace towards the end of this race. Now, dumping the battery. We are going to box at the end of this lap, I think. We don't want to do what we were doing in the early part of the season of just trying to hang out too long on our sort of first tyres, because we're just going to end up losing a lot of time and then not be able to kind of make up the deficit towards the last part of the race. Now, we do have a little bit of battery still in hand. We're hoping to deploy that when we do leave the pit box, and even a bit now, perhaps, just to try and maximize, well, minimize the pit loss, really. Because now we're going to dive into the pits. End of lap 11, as I predicted before. And I say predicted, but I played this, so I know. Or rather, I should know. Again, there's a little bit of a gap just behind some of the front runners there. You can see, obviously, Russell, and then Alonso, and then Piastri, and I believe Hamilton and Norris just there. So I'm hoping we're maybe going to come out maybe before Alonso, if not right on him. But it looks like we're just going to keep our P3 position that we had pretty much before the pit stops, which is actually a really, really good result for us to not lose too much time there. And now it's all out qualifying laps, just pushing the tyres as far as they can go all the way to the checkered flag, and just going through. Actually, there's a yellow flag in sector 1. It looks like there's a Haas going slowly, and we're going to see, is that going to be a safety car for us to really bring us back into this fight? And yes, it's a safety car, a full course safety car, and it's Kevin Magnussen who's out of the race. Didn't seem to crash, he seemed to retire from a mechanical failure, which I'm not going to complain about at all. But now we're right on the back of Verstappen and Russell on fresher, softer compound tyres. 6 laps to go, 5 laps to go at the end of this lap. I'm not good at maths. I should be, but I'm not. And yeah, we've really just got to try and stay as close as we dare to Russell and Verstappen. Try and jump as soon as Verstappen jumps, and from there, hopefully, just get past with DRS and make our life nice and easy for the rest of the race. And Verstappen takes it quite late there, sort of just before the final corner, but we're under green flag racing conditions. Again, no DRS on this straight, but we've got all the battery to play with. Russell's going to go defensive. We're going to switch to the outside, take the racing line, follow Verstappen through. A little bit of a squeeze on Russell as we go through the apex of the corner, and battery, acceleration, traction, all pros for us and cons for Russell. Through the first sector we go. Again, trying to stay close to Verstappen, a little bit out of line there. Again, another double bite of the cherry through that sort of fast left-hander. And now purple sector 1, easy money here. Potentially going to stay behind Verstappen here for this DRS straight, although there's no DRS. We're going to stick behind him, wait until the opportune moment, which is now. When we've got the DRS, we're going to just drift up slowly to Verstappen. He's heavily defending the inside. Where have we seen this before? Going to brake late, go round the outside, really try and stay on the track, but had a little bit of a lock-up, went a bit deep, and Verstappen was able to maintain the position. Again, there's a few laps left of this race, so we do have time. We do have the battery to fight this. We can race for this win. We've got to be wary of Russell behind us, because again, these mediums will start to die later into the race. We need to make these passes as soon as possible, just so we have a chance at this win. Again, stay nice and close to Verstappen. Try and get the acceleration out of the final corner. I don't really want to go for it here, but I will if I have to. I'm going to switch to the inside and really go aggressive here. We saw this work out in the actual race last weekend, and it worked out for us today as well. And now we're going to switch to hot lap. Hot lap. There's another yellow flag out actually in sector 1. There's another safety car, which is kind of good, kind of bad. We do have the fresher tyres, well, the softer tyres. We might not have fresher tyres at this point. The hards may be faring a bit better, but again, it's now down to us to make the most of this situation. We've got to bolt off the line. There's one lap with no DRS when we restart this race. This lap, we're gonna then have 2 racing laps, one without DRS, one with DRS. It's all gonna come down to this. It's the restart. If we get the restart right and we're able to bolt from Verstappen and Russell behind, we're going to have a really good chance of breaking the DRS detection before DRS is enabled on the final lap of the race. If we don't, we're really going to struggle, and we're going to go, now, we're going to bolt, absolutely. We take Verstappen by surprise, 5/10 is the gap right now. We've got all the battery to deploy. We're going to absolutely destroy it. 7/10 to Verstappen, 8/10. Straight line speed, not a problem for us. We do make the corner of turn 1 nicely. Down the hill, we've already broken a second. Potentially Russell and Verstappen having a bit of a ding-dong behind. We do not care. We've just got to absolutely bolt. We have to treat this like our life depends on it. It's elimination mode right now. Right here. Again, another double bite of the cherry. We do not care. We've got tyres. We've got battery. We've just got to go. 1.8 seconds to Verstappen. Dare I get my hopes up just now? Again, hitting apexes pretty nicely. We've actually gotten into the rhythm of this circuit. We had issues in qualifying. We had lockups. We had situations where we're just going deep into the corner, not hitting our braking references. Braking references. Words are hard, but now you can see it's all coming together right when we need it. We've got a purple sector 1, green sector 2, and a 2-second gap to Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Again, we've just got to do the best we can, maximize every inch of this circuit, and we're going to come home with the top spot. I'm really struggling to understand words right now. I think my brain's going at 200 miles an hour, much as we are in our F1 car. Final lap is here. It's right now. We've got no battery left at all, but we have got the fastest lap as well, a 34.2. Right now we're in a situation of just bring it home. No stress. From now, Verstappen did gain 4 or 5/10 in that first corner, but we're in a situation where we just got to bring it home. Don't worry too much about what's happening behind. Just focus on keeping it on the track. Just focus on not binning the car, and focus on not losing too much time. We don't need to push right now. We don't need to. They've got it all to do behind us. We might have everything to lose, but we came from P12 in this race, if you remember. We didn't make Q3. Went for the alternate strat, and it has paid off. A couple of safety cars did really help us out, just purely because of the tyre wear situation. If we had, I think it's about 5 racing laps. 5 laps from under safety car, something like that. And that's a quarter of this race. If we had all of those laps as racing laps, I don't think our mediums would have been able to fight against the hards. However, behind us, Russell and Verstappen are fighting for this P2. Russell's our rival, remember, so if Verstappen can stay ahead, that's great for us. Just purely because we need these points against Russell. But here we go, around the final corner, 2-second gap, easy peasy, and across the line for victory around COTA.
Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
A truly magnificent drive and a great performance from the entire team, securing victory here in Austin.
Such an important victory at this stage of the season. Any points you can achieve to go towards the table is really going to mean a lot to the team. So well done as they prepare for the end of the season.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today.
Thank you, Crofty. We are extremely happy. It was a great race for us. P12 to P1. I wasn't feeling it after qualifying. Lots of mistakes, lots of getting used to the track, and lots of people who aren't subscribed. There's 80% of you aren't subscribed. If you do enjoy and you want to stay up to date, just hit the big red button. We got first, you've got to do it, right? And if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave that like. But a great race from us here in Austin.
It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Me neither, Crofty. And yeah, an amazing race for us here in Austin. Next is Mexico. But let's have a look at the race results for today. Again, top spot for us, nice and easy, and fastest lap, followed by Verstappen, Russell, Alonso, Piastri, Hamilton, Norris, Stroll, Perez, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Ocon, Sainz, Hulkenberg, Albon, Sargent, Ricciardo, Gasly, Zhou Guanyu, Teo Porcher, Valtteri Bottas, and the retiree of the race, Kevin Magnussen. Sargent doing well to pick up P16 in that race, and you can see across the top actually, it was a sprint weekend. But all of my recording for the sprint got kind of corrupted. So we're going to kind of pretend that that didn't really happen. It was a decent race, but nothing really to shout home about. It was a very short race. But that is where we stand. Obviously, weekend results picked up an extra couple of points, but it was pretty much more of the same. In the driver standings, Verstappen still on top. Norris kind of lacking behind at the moment. Not too many races left in the season, so I think it's going to be Verstappen taking the top spot. We're actually kind of catching George Russell right now, based on the last couple of races where we've been getting ahead of him kind of consistently in some respect. Lance Stroll just behind us, but I don't think there's much of a threat there. Again, we're looking for another driver. We're thinking kind of Danny Rick, Kevin Magnussen, something like that. But in the constructors, P6, very respectable for us in our first season. Red Bull fighting off Ferrari pretty well, but, you know, both drivers have to be in it to win it. Highlights to follow, which is always exciting. I'm going to get the race highlights again because the sprint, well, sprint doesn't exist in this cinematic universe. But yeah, overall a really good race. This episode should have come out on Tuesday, like almost a week ago now, but I had a bit of an incident which stopped me from being able to record, which is pretty funny. Also not. I was getting ready to record, setting up my wheel and pedals and everything, as I was moving my sort of wheelie chair, my sort of more officey chair, out of the way so I can have essentially a dining chair put in place to stop me from sliding around when I'm trying to race. Move the office chair out of the way, and felt a bit of pain in my foot, and I kind of stepped on a bit of a metal. It almost looks like a nail. Almost looks a bit like like a furniture staple. I don't know where it came from or what it was, but that went into my foot. Obviously had to go to hospital, get it checked out. It was all fine. Not even a big issue, but yeah, I just couldn't really race on that foot comfortably for, well, and until a couple of days ago. But that's about it. That's the story of Ballymore. Wouldn't you like to know? Obviously, if you enjoyed the episode, leave a like. If you're new around here and you feel bad for me for hurting my foot, think about subscribing. But yeah, double header for this week. So you'll be happy to know Mexico, the next race, is going to come out as planned on Tuesday. It's just this one was a little bit delayed. But I'll leave you with the rest of the highlights. It's only a couple of laps. And I'll catch you all next week in Mexico City for the next Grand Prix.